Hey y'all, Tracey tries the long-haired girl here. I am coming at you with the Tag Tuesday. Again, this is just, it's more random questions because that's kind of what I felt like today, random. I am tagging Robbie at Freaky Fit Wolf and Denise over with Dish with D. Okay, what do you do on your commute to and from work? I tend to listen to audiobooks. Usually mystery. Right now I'm listening to a historical mystery, which I can't really explain why I enjoy them so much, but I do. I used to listen to podcasts, but audiobooks have always been a big part of what I do on my commute, especially when I was driving an hour to an hour and a half each way. It was definitely a big part of my commute. What is your next vacation destination? May not be the same, may not be someplace that everybody wants to go. I do know, provided everything is, back to where we can travel freely, we are supposed to go to Canada, so that is our big vacation destination. But I had told my husband that I really wanted to go down the Talamina Drive and go back to Mena, Arkansas for the fall, because I wanted to see the leaves change. My dad has told me that it is beautiful to do that drive when the weather changes, so I still would like to do that. I've done it like in the summertime. I would also like to do it, when everything starts to bloom in the spring, which I've heard it's very pretty then too. So yeah, that's what I would like to do, sooner rather than later. Hint, hint, dear husband. But honestly, I think I would also like to go. I would like to go visit up north. I've never been anywhere up north except Boston once, almost 12 years ago. So yeah, that's pretty much it. What was the last TV show you binge watched? I have to say, I think it was probably Shakespeare and Hathaway. It's on my BBC, it's on my BritBox subscription on Amazon Prime. I like the British comedies and the British TV shows, and that's one I find her hilarious. Like the things that the way they get themselves in trouble kind of thing. So that's probably the last show that I actually binge watched. What song always gets you out on the dance floor? Honestly, I don't do much of that these days because I don't really get out. But if I have to say which song kind of gets me moving, it's probably almost anything from the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. I love 80s music. 80s music tends to always get me, moving. So there's that. And like when I'm trying to get myself motivated to do something, like in the mornings, it's funny. I have playlists set up just specifically to kind of help get me moving. And one of the big ones, I can almost do anything when I'm listening to Mary Mary, I think it's Live Big or Live Bigger, and Mandice's It's a Good Morning, I think, or maybe it's just Good Morning. Anyway, those kind of get me moving in the mornings. When I'm struggling, I'll turn that on and it kind of helps me get moving. When you were a kid, did you eat the crusts on your sandwiches or not? Yes. I loved bread then. I love bread now. Yeah, I tended to eat the crust. I know not every kid did, and I was probably weird in that regard, but I liked the crust. Do you sleep with a top sheet? Why or why not? Yes, we do, and I've always had a top sheet. Like even in the summertime, we fold the comforter down so that we're mostly just sleeping with the top sheet. And honestly, that's just the way my family has always done it. So I don't really think I knew anything different. What is your favorite thing about your current job? The people I work with. The people I work with are really amazing. We are blessed to have, even though we are a small group, we are blessed to have such a cohesive group come together, and we can laugh and joke and share in each other's joys and triumphs and laugh together. And I love the people. I love the people that I work with. How would your 10-year-old self react to what you do now? I think my 10-year-old self would probably be happy with what I'm doing. I think part of the reason why I chose a career in law is the fact that we went on a trip, me, my mom, my cousin, and his wife and son, and I think my second cousin. We had all gone on a trip to Austin. And when they took me in the Capitol building and in the courthouse, I was in absolute awe. I was walking around, I kid you not, like this, taking it all in. And I think that kind of led me in the direction to where I am now. What was your first job? Well, like many, my very first job was as a babysitter. I did that for one of my mother's best friends. But if you're talking about the first job that I actually, got paid on a regular basis, that would be working as a relief receptionist at Commute, which in Denison is not even in business anymore. But yeah, that was my first job. I did, I don't even know if they still offer it, as an option. My kids didn't do it. But we did, my class I think was called Office Administration, and basically I did it as part of my school. So I worked part-time. I worked the morning shift, but I learned during that time, I learned how to sort mail, open mail, because it was a company, so we got a lot of invoices, shipping invoices and things like that. I also remember answering the phone when I would go up and relieve the receptionist for her breaks and her lunch, answering the phones, but also our customer service people at the time could not make their own phone calls. So if they wanted to be connected to a long distance phone call or to another one of the Conair company in a different state, those calls all had to go through the switchboard. So they would call in and say that they either needed a trunk line or they needed us to call this facility. And so all those calls went through, and they didn't get connected officially until we disconnected at the switchboard. So it was kind of interesting. It was the first time I had ever worked on a switchboard, and I still, my husband says now to this day that when I am on a business call, even if it's somebody that's called me on my cell phone, I get a different tone in my voice. He calls it my receptionist voice. Because he says my voice changes when I'm on a business call. So that was my first, my first legitimate job that I got a, W-2 for. And what do you remember about your job? Well, I just kind of answered that. Really, one of the big things that sticks out in my mind is the making of the phone calls, and that was fun for me. And one of the other big things that I remember about my first job is the receptionist Janie. She made her own cards. Like she had pictures. She would go Xerox off pictures that she had come up with, that would wind up on a card. She would run those off and she would color them with map colors and put the personalized little notes in there for each card that she sent out to whoever. And I remember when I went away to travel and tourism school, she would send me cards and all of them would sign it. I remember my second job, I worked as a hostess in a seafood restaurant, and all of the waiters and waitresses had signed a ticket for me and sent it to me. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, those are the 10 questions for this week. Again, tagging Robbie over at Freaky Fit Wolf and Denise with Dish with D. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's answers. Please, if you don't have a channel, answer them below, because I would love to see everybody's answers. If you do have a channel and you want to participate in a Tag Tuesday, let me know. I'm trying to get together my calendar so I can have people already set up. And then, of course, sometimes things change. So that's a possibility as well. But I would love to hear everybody's answers, and I'm looking forward to hearing Robbie and Denise's. Have a great day, y'all.